bear with me. This is going to be the first episode of Read with Bree. See what I did there? All right. I have 4 books that honestly I fell in love with, read them in a straight shot, took no breaks, and I'm going to share them with you. The first is, okay, so funny story. When I first ordered this off of Amazon, I didn't realize how small it was. So it's like baby size, but it fit in my purse. And honestly, that's really all I could ask for those times where I just wanted to pull out a book while I was working. Okay, anyway, so it's called It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. If you've heard of like Slammed or Ugly Love, that's Colleen Hoover. She's really good with new adult. And because I'm 30, I still feel like I kind of love being transported back into that time when I was in high school or fresh out. Good times. Honestly though, high school was a joke. So what I loved about this one is that it's kind of like a best friends to lovers, and then they end up splitting, and then she falls in love with somebody else. It's really good. It's also a little heartbreaking. It's a really interesting relationship, and it makes you want a person named Atlas. Like, you want an Atlas in your life, the guy who thinks about you, always wants to be with you, or kind of like that selfless guy who tells you, I'll wait for you, because niggas ain't shit. So we know that they don't always wait. This is a good one though. And then for Book of the Month, which is a book subscription service, you pay, I think $14.99 a month, and then you get a credit for a book. You can also skip months, which is great because sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth to read another book. And honestly, I've got like 20 books on my to-be read pile right now, and it's steadily growing. I have like 4 books that should be delivered on Tuesday. I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, so this is called Ties That Tether. And I think the reason why I love this book is because it is about a Black woman, and not just a Black woman. It's about a African woman who immigrates to Canada, and her parents have literally set up this life, this ideal life that they want her to have. They want her to marry an African man. They want her to have little African babies. They have put all of their hopes and dreams into their children, and it's kind of a mix between understanding what you have to do to please your parents while also remaining yourself. But she ends up falling in love with a white man. Shocker. And it just kind of follows her trying to come to terms with falling in love with a white man and not being the woman that her parents have groomed her to be. It's really good, actually. I was a little surprised that it was a Book of the Month pick, but it's kind of nice to be able to see a Black woman falling in love for the first time and it be with somebody that's not quite right for you. I mean, I feel like we've all had that relationship. We've that bad boy or like that guy you're just not supposed to be with, but you end up falling in love with anyway. And now it's you against the world. Not Bonnie and Clyde though, because I'm not committing a crime for you. Okay. These last 2 are honestly my favorite. We Were Liars. Ooh, this one fucked me up. I don't know if I can say that on Instagram, but this one fucked me up. Because as you're reading it, like, you're falling in love with the main character. Like, you're falling in love while she's falling in love, right? Like, you're spending this summer of your life and you keep reading, and then there's this big twist and you're crying because you're just like, what the absolute fuck has just happened? And that's literally what I felt. By the time I got to the twist, part 5, labeled The Truth, I was done. Like, I was through. I quite literally wanted to give up because I felt like, E. Lockhart, how could you do me dirty? Like, you literally broke my heart. And then at the end of it, I was like, that was a very haunting book. However, it was so well done that I was pleased. And I would recommend this to anybody. And finally, so just to preface this book, it deals with really dark and very disturbing subject matter. When Bryn Greenwood wrote this, I don't know if it's like, well, she said it's a story, like, how do I like, because as I was reading it, I was like, holy shit, like, this is really well done. However, this is like really dark and like low-key disgusting subject matter. I mean, it involves a child, and like my thought process is like, okay, well, this child is being groomed and has no idea. The story really centers around Wavy as she goes from like child, and then like literally a 5-year-old child, and then her adolescence, and then preteen, and then adulthood. And she falls in love with this guy named Kellen. But the kicker is that like Kellen is, when you meet him, he's in his 20s and he's falling for a girl that's like 6 or 7. Listen, I really can't put into words how, like, I don't want you to scare away from reading it, because it's beautifully written. I just think that the subject matter, I don't know what the fuck was going through her head when she wrote it. Because in no world would I ever, at 30, be attracted to a 5-year-old child. It was weird, but I finished it. And when I finished it, I realized that it's a book that made me very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Because I remember I was sitting on the couch and I looked at Chris and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is gross. And then I kept reading and I was like, okay, I see what she did there. And it really, I mean, it says on the back, love knows no boundaries. A beautiful and provocative love story between two unlikely people, a child and an adult. And the hard-won relationships that elevates them from above the Midwestern meth lab backdrop of their lives. All the ugly and wonderful things, challenges, all we know and believe about the human heart. I will end this by saying, bitch, arrest me if you ever see me writing some shit like this, because I don't really know what's going on in people's minds. However, it was good. So that is what we've got. And here are my 4 best books that I've read in the last couple of months. I'm currently on a fantasy kick, so I've got like 4 or 5 books that I've started.